it is customary during the afternoon service to read Torah, to read the Haftarah, which of course is from the book of Jonah, and then as part of the afternoon service to have a section where we remember the martyrs of our people. This martyrology service can be us remembering anybody who died for any reason all throughout Jewish history. So it could be the people that died during the First and Second Temples, during Roman times, during the Holocaust. We get to choose the martyrology that we choose to remember. And this year, because when Rabbi Weiner and I were trying to imagine the service, we wanted to make the afternoon service a service that the teenagers, the high school students, kind of owned, so that they would be reading Torah, they would be reading Haftarah, they would be doing part of the martyrology service. But this year especially, we felt that it was important to have the students lead us in remembering those who perished in the October 7th massacre in Israel. Why? Because all those kids in Israel were doing was going to a concert to dance. And these students are not too far from the ages of those who died during the most recent pogrom of our time. And so just this year, we're going to pause from reading Torah, from reading Jonah, and we're going to ask our students to memorialize some peers of theirs so that we can make the connection that if it can happen at a dance festival, it can happen anywhere. And therefore, we never want to forget those who perished that day, and how better than our students to be the Torah and carry on the memory of these wonderful people who are no longer with us.
We stand as one. At this hour, Israel stands as one in prayer. All Jews on earth unite through memory and hope. A people unafraid, unvanquished, says to God, "This people you have formed still lives to tell your praise, still lives to share this teaching with our youth. Our ancient journey has not reached its end. The faith implanted at our people's birth is realized from age to age, a sacred covenant. This people, few in number, ventured forth to carve a lonely path through wilderness, with dreams of vines and fig trees, justice in the gates, the land at peace. And still we make our way across the desert. This people you have formed still lives to walk before you. Exiled once to Babylon, we learned the unity of God. A second time dispersed by Rome, we learned that humankind is one. Hear, O Israel, the call still sounds. Eternity is ever present in your midst, a heritage of sacred purpose in your heart. Your past tells a story for all peoples. Your future holds a promise still unfolding. At this hour, Israel stands as one in prayer. All Jews on earth unite through memory and hope. We look at one another and we know who we are. We look to our Creator and we know our strength. In pursuit of truth, this people lives to serve the Most High for the sake of life. Behind us, pain and glory. Before us, holy work. Timeless words command us. Toward eternity we gaze.
To Run Away by Elchanan Nir. The Torah, the scrolls, the prayer, the words, the novel, the poems, everything. We would throw them away in an instant if only your rage would come to rest. Everything to the fire, everything right now. The wedding albums, the china plates edged with silver from Grandma, the simple drawings of houses from Dina's kindergarten, all with a red roof and no floor. We have no time left. They are coming. We can hear their power. They've breached everything, the fences, the wall, the towers. They've desecrated the oil. Tell us, when are you coming? Quickly, be stronger. Everything is going up in smoke. Look, we are here. We have nowhere else to run.
Omer Tzadikovich. Omer lived on Kibbutz Kfar Aza and was in charge of the communications for the Sha'ar HaNegev region. In the event of any escalation in conflict, his job was to head the regional council's war room. On the morning of October 7th, he looked out his door at 7:16 a.m. and called a neighbor to see if it would be okay to leave. He was never seen or heard from alive again. His body was found next to his car, where he died trying to fight back against terrorists. Omer loved to surf, and to honor his memory, his family erected a surfboard on the kibbutz at the spot where he died. His family and friends described him as a childlike optimist. He loved the kibbutz that was his home for so many years, and as an IT specialist, he could often help with many computer issues. His son, Liren, described his dad by saying, "Dad was a very happy person. Even now, when I look through his pictures, I only see him smiling." He really loved the sea, surfing, and more than anything, his children. Those were the two things that drove him in life. We'll always remember him as happy and joyful and smiling. His daughter, Gali, wrote on Facebook to, "My best friend, the one person who was always there for me. What a wonderful person you were. I never knew anyone else who was so happy, so optimistic like you. I will keep laughing and being happy just because I know that you would have wanted it," she added. "I will keep going in my life so that you can look down on me from above and be proud of me."
A new language. Once again, I feel like an immigrant child, pretending that I understand, nodding in agreement, shaking my head in disagreement. But everyone around me is speaking another language, one that I relearn anew. After October 7th, Hebrew.
Avner and Maya Goren. Avner, age 56, was murdered by terrorists on October 17th in kibbutz near Oz. Maya, his wife, also age 56, was abducted that day and taken hostage to the Gaza Strip. On December 1st, the IDF confirmed that Maya had died, and on July 24th, the IDF recovered her body and returned it to Israel. Avner and Maya had 4 children, Asif, Bar, Gal, and Dekel. Maya was a teacher in kibbutz near Oz, and on the morning of October 7th, she was setting up the kindergarten when the attack began. Avner was murdered inside his home. On the morning of October 7th, Avner called Dekel and Bar, of his children who were on the kibbutz but in a different home, and told them to get into their safe room. They survived. Avner was blessed with talent in many fields, a man of spirit, writing, and knowledge in many areas, who wrote text messages full of wit and humor that they used to celebrate the holidays. Gal said of her mother, "You were always concerned that if you weren't here, we would be there to be there for each other. And the truth is, if you and Dad could see us now, you would be so proud of us," she added. "You raised an incredible family, a family that despite 1,000,001 cracks is still standing, a family that fought so hard to bring you home to us. I inherited so many things from you. Your pull toward education, your belief in people, your uncompromising desire to give and provide. Rest in peace with Dad. Allow yourselves to rest, and trust that we are loved and embraced."
Silent witness. When you go to Re'im, to that sacred ground, notice the trees, silent witnesses to the horrors, dazed and rooted. Their best limbs could not life up the fallen. Their sturdy trunks could not shield the vulnerable. Their broad leaves could not shelter the wounded. When the breeze comes in the south, if you listen carefully, you can hear those trees, somber filigree pillars, always rising, reeling, whispering, Yitgadal vayikadash shemei Rabbah. And in the distance, the shifting sands utter a mournful Amen.
Libby Cohen Miguri. Libby Cohen Miguri was murdered by terrorists trying to flee the Supernova Music Festival. She had gone with her close friend Adi Rivka Maisel, and when the rocket fire began, they got in their car. They were shot on the side of the road trying to hide. She is survived by her mother, twin brother, and younger sister. Her mother described her as the happiest person this world has ever known. She was a chunk of energy, happy, light, and laughing from the moment she woke up in the morning until the moment she went to sleep. After her army service, like many Israelis, Libby traveled abroad. She cut short her travels to attend the music festival and surprised her family by coming home early. The family has created stickers featuring Libby's photo, the date October 7th, and slogans that depict her character.
Amit Levi. Amit was killed at the Nova Music Festival on October 7th. She is survived by her father, Lior, her twin sister, Shani, and her younger brother, Omri. Shani also attended the festival with her sister and was shot 3 times, but somehow managed to survive after surgery. She and her sister had saved up money to travel to South America and had bought tickets for December 17th. In December, Shani posted her memories on social media. "To my twin sister, my best friend, the most considerate, most charismatic, and most gentle girl," she wrote. "You brought only good to the world, my angel, an incredible girl whose unique beauty and smile could be seen from afar, and whose joy for life will stay with me forever. You were too good for this world. I was privileged to be your twin sister for 22.6 years, in which we were inseparable. I got to experience absolutely everything with you. Only twins will understand this crazy connection." Shani recalls, "Being together with you until your very last breath, I saw you fight and not give up until it was too much, until your strength ran out. until your gentle and pure soul couldn't take it anymore. She wrote, I am choosing to believe that things are good for you and that you and Mom are together catching up in the highest spot in heaven. I know I have the highest protection possible. Nothing can break us, Amit. You and I will know that better than anyone. My whole life I experienced with you, Shani continued, and a whole life is beginning without you. You have left a hole in my heart in the shape of you. You accompany me always in every step and every breath. Everything you didn't get to do, my love, I promise I will live your life as the person who knew you the best in the world.
Be'eri, soon winter will be here. Weeping clouds will water the earth, making red carpets grow. The anemone will flower first, yet no one will come to admire its beauty. The buttercup will bloom next, and there will be no festival. The poppy will flower last in silence, seen by none. The protected flowers had already been picked in the fall.
Cleared for publication, that our hearts are broken and in hidden places, in empty rooms, thousands of sobs are choking silently. Cleared for publication, that open season was declared on us. We were plundered in the dark. Of the most precious of the precious, it is already cleared for publication, that the magical shining light of our beloved's face is extinguished. However, beneath the same soil, a stubborn plant is sprouting, sending roots without end, tightly grasped with love.
Major Ito Sha'ani. Ito Sha'ani was the deputy commander of the Nahal Reconnaissance Unit. He was killed on October 7th while battling terrorists next to the kibbutz Safa. On that morning, Ito was the senior officer in charge of the area between Keren Shalom and Nir Yitzhak, across from the southern end of the Gaza Strip. When the Hamas attack began, Ito was out on patrol. He realized that this was a different situation and broadcast over the army radio, "War, I repeat, we are at war. Everyone must defend his front, kill terrorists, good luck." He sprang into action, ordering troops to several locations and rousing forces amid the surprise attack. At first, he headed to Kerem Shalom, where the families of the observation soldiers stationed there said he saved their lives with his orders. Next, Ito set out for kibbutz Safa, and on the way he encountered a cell of terrorists and they engaged in an exchange of fire. He was shot in the head and brought to a nearby kibbutz where he succumbed to his wounds. Shortly before 7 a.m., his wife, Ma'ayan, said Ito texted her, "I love you. Everything is okay." His aunt, Nurit, said, "I want to remember Ito the alive, the sweet, smart, and sensitive, who was an officer and a gentleman, and less about the details of how he was killed." She said, "Ito loved life, loved the army, and paid with his life. That's our Ito." Nurit said Ito was a man of values, of ethics, integrity, and truth. He advanced on the career army ladder. He loved what he did.
A fallen soldier. Like a coin into a tzedakah box, he bumps into the copper coins. Secretly, he falls anonymously. He saves from death. He rattles with his brothers. He kisses their faces, rusty with the sweat of battles, and his father and mother are stretching out their hands, begging him back through the narrow slit.
Lior Levy was a corporal in the IDF. She was killed on October 7th when terrorists overran the Urim IDF base. She was on medical leave from the IDF following surgery, but insisted on returning to the base with her friends. She was killed on the base running between buildings. She is survived by her parents, Rachel and Ofer, her siblings Eden, Galad, and Omri. She dreamed of one day being a doctor and volunteered for years with the Magen David Adam Ambulance Service. Talib Ben Naim, who volunteered alongside her, said, "Lior was an incredible volunteer with a huge heart. She always aspired to learn more, to be a professional as possible, helped everyone and took care of patients like they were family." Her mother, Rachel, told Ynet that she volunteered from age 14 with MDA. Even when she could come home from base, she would head off to a shift every break and every holiday. It ran in her veins. Her family said she also loved to cook, with her signature dishes including pasta and rose sauce and her no-bake tea biscuit and pudding cake, which she would make at home every week and bring it to the base.
Chief Inspector Arnon Zamora was a commander and fighter in the Police Special Forces unit in Yamam. He was critically wounded during the rescue mission in Nusayrat in central Gaza, in which 4 Israeli hostages were rescued. He later died of his wounds. The IDF spokesperson said that the mission was renamed Operation Arnon in his honor. On October 7th, Zamora was part of the Special Forces who fought at Kibbutz Yad Mordechai, preventing the terrorists from spreading north towards Tel Aviv. His sister-in-law, Yael Bronstein, wrote, "My brother-in-law was a true hero, a warrior who saved lives with his bare hands many times. Then he would come to our house. We would talk about ordinary stuff and laugh, and he would scold me for being addicted to my phone when we were together, all that kind of stuff." Arnon was a man with a huge heart, so sensitive and loving. He really was an emotional person, pure gold. A sweet father, an amazing partner to my sister. I always wondered how it can be that everyone who falls is from their very best.
עוד יש מפרש לבן באופק, מול ענן שחור כבד, כל שנבקש לו יהי. ואם בחלומות הערב אור נרות חגג רועד, כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי. כל שנבקש לו יהי. לו יהי, לו יהי, אנא לו יהי. כל שנבקש לו יהי. To break the dark a star appears, to shine a light from high above. This is all we ask, may it be. And from that star we'll gather strength to build the world with peace and love. This is all we ask, may it be. Lu yehi, lu yehi, ana lu yehi. Kol shenevakesh lu yehi. Lu yehi, lu yehi, ana lu yehi. Kol shenevakesh
אנחנו המורים של חיילי אוקטובר, שנת 23. נפרדנו מכם רק לא מזמן בטקס וספר מחזור. היינו איתכם מתקופת הילדות ועד לבגרויות. חלפו השנים, לא הצלחנו תמיד לראות מה גדלתם להיות. וכשהגיעה אותה השבת באוקטובר 23, יצאתם להגן בגופכם על כל תושבי המדינה. יצאתם מיד, גם ליצב 8, יצאתם בעוז, באומץ, יצאתם בלי שום שאלות, לא חשבתם לבקש הקלות, יצאתם מיד.
אתם חיילות וחיילי אוקטובר, שנת 23. גדלתם במדינה שסועה מפולגת, בלי עוגן
אין אתכם שמאל או ימין. כשלמעלה חיפשו להפיל אחריות, כבר הייתם בקו הקדמי, ולכן נעמוד ונצדיע לכם בצניעות, נתייצב לצדכם. את הבוסר אנחנו אכלנו, ואתם משלמים בדמכם, ואנחנו לנצח מורים שלכם, נזדקף ונרים את הראש. תודה על השיעור שלמדנו מכם באוקטובר 23. יצאתם מיד, גם בלי צו 8, יצאתם בעוז, באומץ, יצאתם בלי שום שאלות, לא חשבתם לבקש הקלות. נכון, אין יונה, עלה של זית, אך אתם הדוגמה לשלום בית. קיבלנו שיעור אזרחות, למדנו בזכותכם מה זאת בגרות. יצאתם מיד.
We need a new Torah. Now, like a breath of fresh air, we need a new Torah. Grasping for air and with choking throats, we need a new Mishnah and a new Gemara, and a new Kabbalah and a new elevations of the soul. And from the midst of all the wreckage, the salt and the desert land, now a new Hadassim and a new Zayanim, and a new Rabbi Cook and a new Brenner, and a new Leah Goldberg and a new Yehaveh Da'at, new art and new poetry, new literature and new cinema, and new ancient words, new ancient souls from the treasury, and a new love out of the terrible weeping. For we were all washed from the rivers of Reim and Be'eri, and we have no other mountain within us, nor another 10 commandments, no other Moses, and no more strength. From this moment, everything is in our hands.
Moshe Riddler died on October 7th at the age of 91 on Kibbutz Halit. He was a Holocaust survivor. Moshe was the oldest resident of the small community, which numbered only around 200 people before Hamas's murderous rampage. His family said he was sent to a concentration camp at age 9 and succeeded in fleeing at age 11. He moved to Israel in 1951, ultimately joining the police force and serving as a detective. After retiring from the police force, Moshe worked with the Jewish Agency, managing absorption centers which housed Ethiopian immigrants in the 1980s and 1990s. He was the grandfather of Halit, but he was also our grandfather, his grandson Amir Tesser remembered. He loved to dance and travel abroad. Even as he aged, his love for his family, for life, he continued to give us great strength even after he surpassed age 90. His granddaughter, Enia Riedlyer, wrote on Facebook, "Hi, Grandpa, do you remember how the last few times we met, you argued with us that you were 100 years old and that you insisted that we don't know how to count? Who would have thought that you would not reach age 92 in such a tragic way after, as a child, you experienced the starvation, cold and rain in a concentration camp in succeeding in escaping. His daughter, Penina Henwer, said that her father would swim in the holy pool every day, visit the grocery store, and always flirted with the girls, and he told stories. He danced with his walking stick, she said. He really enjoyed his life on the kibbutz. The little ones were very attached to him, Henwer added. They went to his house to play on his piano and talk to him.
In a few moments, Eva and Joe are going to come up and read a reading, first from Rachel Goldberg Polin and then about Hirsch Goldberg Polin's life. And we have the privilege of welcoming Hirsch Goldberg Polin's aunt and grandmother, the sister and mother of Rachel Goldberg Polin, this month on October 27th. It's a Tuesday evening. So please understand how small the Jewish world is that we will actually hear from the aunt and grandmother of someone who was a hostage from October 7th.
One tiny seed. There's a Yiddish lullaby that says, "Your mother will cry 1,000 tears before you grow to be a man." I have cried 1,000,000 tears in the last 67 days. We all have. And I know, way over there, there's another woman who looks just like me, because we are all so very similar. She has also been crying. All those tears, our sea of tears, they all taste the same. Can we take them, gather them up, and remove the salt, and then pour them over our desert of despair, and plant one tiny seed, a seed wrapped in fear, trauma, pain, and hope, and see what grows? Could it be that this woman, so very like me, that she and I could be sitting together in 50 years, laughing without teeth because we have drunk so much sweet tea together? And now we are so very old, and our faces have creased like worn-out brown paper bags, and our sons have their own grandchildren and have long lives, one without an R, but who needs 2 arms anyway? Is it all a dream, a fantasy, a prophecy, one tiny seed?
Hirsch was attending the Novum Music Festival on October 7th, an early birthday celebration with his friends. This year, Hirsch's 24th Hebrew birthday fell on October 7th. During the Hamas attack, Hirsch lost his arm while trying to remove a grenade that was thrown into a bunker he was hiding in. Hirsch loved to have fun at music festivals and see his friends and family. He loved geography and traveling the world. In John Goldberg's Urology for Hirsch, he said, "From the time Hirsch was a toddler, he had a wisdom that always expanded my own thinking. He was my Rav, my teacher, my companion. I knew that as we walked hand in hand to get my Sunday morning coffee in Berkeley, I'd better be ready for some challenging questions from a 3.5-year-old Hirsch." Rachel Goldberg Polin's Urology for Hirsch, she said about him, "You squeezed into your young life a lot of experiences, and that gives me relief and comfort. You made true and deep friendships. You traveled each summer and started to explore the world. You worked, you learned, you read, you taught, you served, you listened, you even fell in love and had a deep, true relationship for more than 2 years. And you shared the excitement of that new experience with us. You charmed everyone in your life you ever talked to, old or young. You promoted justice and peace in a way only a young, pure, wide-eyed idealist can."
בקרוב תזרח השמש, נדע ימים יפים מאלה, הלב נלחם בדאגות. כולם יחזרו הביתה, נחכה להם למטה, הלוואי נדע בשורות טובות. כי עם הנצח לעולם לא מפחד, אפילו כשקשה לראות. כולם ביחד, אף אחד פה לא בודד, שישרפו המלחמות. עם ישראל חי, אם לא נשכח תמיד להיות מאוחדים. עם ישראל חי, נחלתנו, לא תיפול כעת רוחנו מסביב ברזל של חרבות. ויונה תפרוס כנפיים, התקווה בת שנות 2000, עוד נצא לשיר ברחובות. כי עם הנצח לעולם לא מפחד, אפילו כשקשה לראות. כולם ביחד, אף אחד פה לא בודד, שישרפו המלחמות. עם ישראל חי, אם לא נשכח תמיד להיות מאוחדים. עם ישראל חי, בעליות בירידות גם בשעות הכי קשות. הקדוש ברוך הוא שומר עלינו, אז מי יכול עלינו? כי אין לנו עוד מדינה. תעשה שלום בינינו, שמור על ילדינו, כי לא אבדה האמונה. הקדוש ברוך הוא שומר עלינו, אז מי יכול עלינו? כי אין לנו עוד מדינה. תעשה שלום בינינו, שמור על ילדינו, כי לא אבדה האמונה. עם ישראל חי, כי עם ישראל חי.
El Malay Rachamim, God of compassion in a universe that lacked compassion, grant tender rest beneath the wings of Shekinah in the broken spheres of human radiance to the souls of each and every one of the injured and the violated in the horrors of the pogrom on October 7th. For the fear that fell upon each man and woman, elders, youth, and children, our mouths do not know how to scream or put it into words, for we lament and mourn for them, for us. Because of this, our hearts are faint. Because of this, our eyes grow dim. Woe to us, for we are broken. Woe, for our homes were shattered, our souls and bodies tormented, and our faces darkened. Therefore, compassionate one, reveal our torment to the world, and for all time, and from one end of the earth to the other, may the silenced voices utter, guard our souls in the land of life, for life is our heritage. May we come in peace to healing. Please, God, heal all the injured. Please, God, heal all the families and caretakers. Please, God, hear and heal us all. And let us say, Amen.
Hamakom will comfort you, and if not, don't worry. The land will also comfort you, and the city, and the neighborhood, and the street, and the shore, and the sun on my face. Hamakom will comfort you among the rest of the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Yes, forever. And also this place, this wondrous land, will comfort you.
I invite you to rise as we sing together Hatikva.
Oh,
Please be seated. Our children are the inheritance that we give to the future of the Jewish people. And as our high school students led us today in remembrance, we know that the Jewish future is in wonderful hands. Thank you to all who came to participate in their Jewish lives and enriching the lives of all of our community here. This formally ends our service for the afternoon service, and our Yizkor service will begin momentarily.
kind of lovely.
Good Yontif. As rabbis, we have the privilege of walking with people throughout their lives when they celebrate and when they mourn and everything in between. And as rabbis, sometimes it's hard to be that person who gets to celebrate or mourn their own family's events because we spend our time so much in community. And so tonight, for our Yizkor service, I will be leading our Yizkor service so that Rabbi Kaznowski can be amongst our people, and she can have this as her Yizkor service, just as it is for all of you. Rabbi Jen Gubitz writes the following: "Grief and memory hold hands. As brokenhearted, we find our way through the Jewish year. Grief and memory hold hands as we search for solace, as we travel from impermanence to joy, from narrowness to freedom, to wisdom and learning, to renewal and return, such that when we return to them in this moment of memory, Yizkor on Yom Kippur, we remember them as if it were only yesterday that they were here and we are brokenhearted, because they are now not. Grief and memory hold hands. As brokenhearted, we find our way through the year, from birthdays to anniversaries, first days of school to graduations, from breakups to weddings, from simchas to struggles and back to simcha again, from holiday to holiday to holiday, and from Yizkor to Yizkor and back again. And in this moment of Yom Kippur Yizkor, we remember them as the hunger grieving inside of us longs for more than a breakfast meal. For we yearn to hold them, and we yearn to be held by them. We remember their foibles and forgive their faults. We remember them for who they were, and we try to forgive them for who they could not be. For the pain we caused them and the pain they caused us. And we forgive ourselves for what of them we forget, or haven't yet, but one day will. As why did you have to leave me becomes I forgive you for leaving me, but oh, how I wish you could walk through the door and comfort me in my tears. In this moment of Yizkor on Yom Kippur, grief and memory hold hands. As brokenhearted, we are bound together in our impermanence and our joy, in our narrowness and our freedom, nourished by wisdom, assuaged by forgiveness. 4 times each year on Yizkor, and yes, of course, every other single day, Yizkor Elohim, God remembers them, and so do we. We begin our service on page 541. This is the hour of memory, and this is our house of comfort. Wounded by loss, we retreat from life. Our synagogue gathers us in. Into this place, we bring stories and prayers, unanswered questions, tears that need to be shed. Lives recollected and carried within us, moments of courage and laughter and pain. This day embraces them all. This place embraces us all. Now the heart opens in sorrow, for we are time's subjects, and all that we love we must lose. So let us hold fast to the love that remains and cherish the light of the sun. Today all of us walk the mourner's path. Together may we find strength. We continue on page 544, singing Shaviti. On page 543, where does it end? I look out upon the far horizon. Where does it end? The line drawn by my eyes is only imaginary. It will recede as I come near it. Space, like time, is continuous, and there are no sharp interruptions to differentiate one thing from another. And it is not likewise with my life. I look back into my past. I cannot tell where it began. I am familiar with some of my ancestors, but my life did not begin with them. It stretches far back into the time beyond my reckoning. A long line of generations labored to produce me. The peculiarity of my walk, of my smile, may go back to one and the bent of my mind to another. The sound of my voice may carry an echo of some unknown benefactor who passed something of himself on to me. The seed that develops in me was planted in a faraway past, and as I reap the harvest, I know that other hands made it possible. Equally long is the line of my spiritual ancestors. The love of life and the sense of kinship I feel for my fellow human beings are but simple expressions of my spirit. But human beings achieved it after groping and suffering. The first person who rubbed 2 stones to produce fire is my ancestor, and so is the first person who discovered the glow of friendship in the clasp of 2 hands. The people who explored the seas and the mountains and who brought up the hidden riches of the earth are my ancestors. They enriched me with the fruit of their discoveries as well as with the spirit of their daring. I am what I am because of the first amoeba that developed into a more complex form, impelled by divine imperative to grow. 1,000 sunsets have shaped my sense of beauty, and 1,000 soft voices have taught me to be kind. Waters from 1,000 springs have quenched my thirst. I look out upon my world and act in it with all that is mine, with every past experience and with everything that entered into it. As I think of the long line stretching far into the past, I also cast my glance forward. The line into the future is just as unbroken. It moves through me into generations yet unborn. And as I think of this, I am comforted, for I am a point in that line, and the course of existence travels through me. I have inherited from all the past and will bequeath to all the future. In the movement of that line lies the secret of immortality, and I am a part of it. We continue with singing Enosh on page 546. The traditional Yizkor prayer asks God to remember the souls of our loved ones and to shelter them for eternity. But the Yizkor service on Yom Kippur has significance beyond the prayer itself. This is a moment set apart for solitary reflection, an opportunity to fulfill a sacred obligation, and it is a time to feel the physical and the emotional closeness of community, the presence of other people who know what we have been through because they have been through it too. At Yizkor, we see the sorrow in one another's eyes. As the number 7 is a Jewish symbol of wholeness and holiness, our Yizkor service offers 7 ways to reflect on loss and memory, grief and healing. We choose alone and together from among these diverse lights. Our first candle is for the loss of loved ones. We remember them, what it was about them that made us laugh or sometimes made us cringe, what their presence felt like when they entered a room, and the minutiae of details that made them so special to us. We remember the grief that we experienced when they died and the hole in our heart that we feel without them beside us. And so we honor that loss with our first candle. We continue on page 549. The death of a loved one is the most profound of all sorrows. The grief that comes with such a loss is intense and multifaceted, affecting our emotions, our bodies, and our lives. Grief is preoccupying and depleting. Emotionally, grief is a mixture of raw feelings such as sorrow, anguish, anger, regret, longing, fear, and deprivation. Grief may be experienced physically as exhaustion, emptiness, tension, sleeplessness, or loss of appetite. Grief invades our daily lives in many sudden gaps and changes, like the empty place at the dinner table or the sudden loss of affection and companionship, as well as in many new apprehensions, adjustments, and uncertainties. The loss of a loved one throws every aspect of our lives out of balance. The closer we were to the person who died, the more havoc the loss creates. Love does not die quickly. Hence, to grieve is also to celebrate the depth of the union. Tears are then the jewels of remembrance, sad but glistening with the beauty of the past. So grief in its bitterness marks the end, but it also is praise to the one who is gone. On page 553, the death of a parent. To move to the front of the line, a voice says, and suddenly there is no one left standing between you and the world to take the first blows on their shoulders. This is the place in books where part 1 ends and part 2 begins, and there is no part 3. The slate is wiped not clean, but like a canvas painted over in white, so that a whole new landscape must be started, bits of the old still showing underneath. Those colors sadness lends to a certain hour of evening. Now the line of light at the horizon is the hinge between earth and heaven, only visible a few moments as the sun drops its rusted padlock into place. Our second candle is for inner strength and survival. The resilience of humanity is nothing short of a miracle. In the face of loss, we have the ability to wade through our grief and to find our way to the other side, even if that takes us many years. Dr. Lucy Hone teaches in her book, Resilient Grieving, that our inner strength helps us to focus on doing what we can get through each hour, each day, each month, each week, each month, and each year. We utilize our inner strength to juggle our sadness while also continuing to live our lives. We honor our inner strength and survival with our second candle. We continue now singing Asai Nai on page 556.
Shamayim, Shamayim. לך מכל רע, וזכור את נפשך, אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך
The courage that my mother had. The courage that my mother had went with her and is still with her. Rock from New England quarried, now granite on a granite hill. The golden brooch my mother wore, she left behind for me to wear. I have no thing I treasure more. Yet it is something I could spare. Oh, if instead she'd left me the thing that she took into the grave, that courage like a rock, which she has no more need of, and I have. We continue on page 559. In my darkness, be a light to me. In my loneliness, help me to find a soul akin to my own. Give me strength to live with courage, and give me courage to draw blessing from life. Even in the midst of suffering, to hold fast against the storm, and to smile at a loved one's glance. Our third candle, holiness in memories. In my family, as I would imagine holds true in many families, we have a tradition that on a yahrzeit or a birthday or on an anniversary of the loved one who has since died, we share pictures and memories of that person. On my grandfather's birthday, my uncle always posts the same picture of my grandfather, dressed in a pink short-sleeve button-down shirt with an oven mitt that looks like a fish on one hand and a grilling utensil on the other. On my grandmother's birthday, we always share pictures of her eating a brownie. Her passion for chocolate could not be rivaled. On Christmas, we tell stories of our favorite Santi Dai, my aunt who was not Jewish, but who loved that we still helped her to celebrate Christmas. These candid pictures and stories, more so than the staged family pictures from big events, highlight for us the holiness of their memories. We may not remember every word they said, but we remember how it felt to be with our loved ones, and we ensure that we remember that time that we were able to spend with them. We honor the holiness of memories with our third candle as we continue on page 564. When you died, it was time to light the first candle of the 8. The dark tidal shifts of the Jewish calendar of waters and the moon that grows like a belly and starves like a rabbit in winter have carried that holiday forward and back since then. I light only your candle at sunset as the red wax of the sun melts into the rumpled waters of the bay. The ancient words pass like cold water out of stone over my tongue as I say Kaddish. When I am silent and the twilight drifts in on skeins of unraveled woolly snow, blowing over the hill dark with pitch pines, I have a moment of missing that pierces my brain like sugar stabbing a cavity till the nerve lights its burning wire. Grandmother Hannah comes to meet me at Pesach, and when I am lighting the Sabbath candles, the sweet wine in the cup has her breath. The challah is braided like her long, long hair. She smiles vaguely, nods, is gone like a savor passing. You come oftener when I am putting up pears or tomatoes, baking apple cakes. You are in my throat laughing or in my eyes. When someone dies, it is the unspoken words that spoil in the mind and ferment to wine and to vinegar. I obey you still, going out in the sawtooth wind to feed the birds you protected. When I lie in the arms of my love, I know that you climbed like a pea vine twining lush, grasping for the sun toward love, and always you were pinched back, denied. It's a little low light the yardsight candle makes. You couldn't read by it or even warm your hands. So the dead are with us only as the scent of fresh coffee, of cinnamon, of pansies excites the nose and then fades. With us as the small candle burns in its glass. We lose and we go on losing as long as we live. A little winter, no spring can melt. On the next page, for personal reflection. What memories of my loved ones do I cherish most? Do some of my memories still hurt? How do my memories help me to live a better life? Blessed are the memories, holy and cherished, the love they reveal. We pray, may our sorrows soften and diminish in strength. May the pains of past bereavements grow gentler with time. Let the memory bring us nearer to the loved ones in our midst. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekor HaChaim. Blessed are you, Holy One, who gives and renews life. Our fourth candle, our most precious relationships. For those for whom we hold closest to us, there are never enough words, and never exactly the right words to truly explain the loss that we feel. We remember, we grieve, we honor, we forgive, we hold close, we are grateful, we cherish, we regret, we wish, we ask forgiveness, we promise, and we miss them every single day. We honor these most precious relationships with our fourth candle as we continue with singing Yesh Kochavim on page 567.
Oh
take some time now for silent meditation using the words of our hearts or the words of pages 568 to 578. On page 578. Blessed is the life of every soul, pure and bright the breath of God within us. We pray, help us know the infinite wisdom that gives life and takes it away. Forgive us for anger, bitterness, and selfishness. Teach us the language of healing. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekor HaChaim. Blessed are you, Holy One, who gives and renews life. Our fifth candle is acceptance. Considered the fifth and final stage of grief, acceptance is when we have finally come to terms with accepting the reality of our loss. We no longer deny or struggle against our grief, although it is still there. We work to focus our energy on celebrating the life of our loved one, cherishing the memories that were shared, and making plans for moving forward. We honor our acceptance with our fifth candle. Psalm 90. Adonai, through all generations we have found our homes in you. Before the mountains rose up, before the birth pangs of the earth, you alone have been with us, steadfast and constant for all time. In the end, you return us to dust, saying, "Come home now, daughters and sons of Adam and Eve, you are mortal. In your sight, 1,000 years pass in an instant, like a fleeting watch in the night. But how brief the span of our lives. Our years flow by in the dream. We sleep away our days. In the morning we blossom in beauty. In the evening we wither away. Burnt like grass in the blasting heat of summer, we perish like chaff on the wind. A human life may be 80 years and 10, or 80 years, but for those who are blessed with strength. So many days consumed by toil and troubles, then our time is cut short, and too soon we go into the dark. So teach us to number our days, that we may bring home a heart of wisdom. Give us a sense of your presence. Nourish us with your compassion. Knowing your love at the dawn of our life, let us live our days in contentment. May our moments of joy surpass the times of struggle. May we taste the sweetness of each precious day. May the work of our hands bring fulfillment. We continue on page 583, singing Beyado. Our sixth candle, gratitude. In Musar, the practice of Jewish spirituality, the value of gratitude is hakarat hatov, recognizing the good. Myriad benefits come to us every day, but most of us find it easy to overlook them, instead focusing on what we lack. We focus on the death of our loved one rather than the gratitude we have for all that was provided within our life. Hakarat HaTov is an invitation to sensitize yourself to the good and to the gifts that are certain to be present in your life at every moment, even if at that moment there happen to be difficulties. We honor our gratitude for our loved ones with our sixth candle as we continue by singing Those Who Sow in Tears on page 585. Our seventh candle, finding peace. It is not a coincidence that in Hebrew, the words for peace and wholeness share a root, shin, lamed, mem, shalom and shalem. When we find shalom, when we find peace, we are whole, we are shalem. And when we are whole, when we are shalem, we are at peace. We honor the peace that we have found with our seventh candle as we continue by singing Shir LaShalom on page 531. continue with a moment of silent prayer, followed by the singing of Psalm 23 on page 593. We read together at the top of page 594. A psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. On page 597. Our loved ones live in our broken hearts, and at times that brings some measure of healing. Their acts of kindness and generosity are the inheritance they leave behind. We feel their absence, but the beauty of their lives abide among us. As it is said, the name of one who has died shall not disappear. Our loved ones' names and their memories will endure among us. Please rise as we continue with the chanting of El Malei Rachamim on page 598.
רחמים, שוכין במרומים, המציא מנוחה נכונה, תחת כנפי השכינה, עם קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים, לנשמות יקירינו שהלכו לעולמם, בעל הרחמים יסתירים בסרקר כנפיו לעולמים, בצרור החיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום על משכבם, ונאמר
We read together the translation. Merciful God, God Most High, let there be perfect rest for the souls of our loved ones who have gone into eternity. May they find shelter in your presence among the holy and pure, whose light shines like the radiance of heaven. Compassionate God, hold them close to you forever. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May they find a home in you, and may they find rest and peace. Together we say, Amen. On page 602, we miss them at celebrations, when there's an empty seat at the table. We miss them when the community gathers and there's an empty place beside us. We miss them today and every day with every year that passes as our life goes on without them. Their faces, their voices, the feel of our arms around them, these are with us forever. For so it is written, love is strong as death. The love that we gave, the love we received, these endure amid the pain of loss. We continue now with the Mourner's Kaddish on page 606. And we don't read a list today because we carry everybody's memory with us. So I invite you to take a moment now, before we recite Kaddish, to take a breath and to hold in your heart those whom you love who are not here with you today. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabam, be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu. Le'ela u'le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'ran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemayim. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. This concludes our Yizkor service. We will begin Ne'ilah at 6 o'clock in 5 minutes.
Why? Did it? Oh, it's just being like.
He's like, you should try something.
It's like, no, stop it. Wrong day. For a second, I was like, where is my email service? Is it gone?
This much crying is not good for singing.
No, it really isn't, and I was crying a lot, which isn't helpful. Yeah, everyone's fine. Everyone's fine. It's just been hard early days when you're exchanging Shana Tova and Baruch while everyone's in Tel Aviv actively. Right. Yeah. So it's just been a really hard year. High days around now. Yeah. But I'm glad it's something. I've just. I'm like a very sensitive human being. Anything will make me cry. So. Couldn't see yours through mine. I just hope it's a better year now. This one.
Hello. I haven't seen you.
Yeah, I haven't seen you at all. Oh shoot, it might be the one. I may have had it tomorrow. That's right. Wait. I think I may return it. No, I think I was sitting on the floor.
We are entering the final stretch of our worship. Before we formally begin, we are having trouble with our captioning. This we know. And don't fear, we are trying to work it out, but it's something we are aware of. And as we grow into our new technology, the double-edged sword of having technology and then it doesn't work, please forgive us that it wasn't everything that we needed it to be for the final services. I also wanted to comment that the one advantage of having high holidays fall exactly when they're supposed to fall in the Jewish calendar, but for our purposes later, is sundown is occurring in 10 minutes. Which only means that we don't have to prolong the service. We can just do the service and it will naturally grow dark, and then we will do Havdalah together and we will finish our service, and then we'll go rush the table for a bagel. But until then, let us relax and breathe in the long shadows of a long day and begin our service in our Machzor, starting on page 612. The long day is over and the gates are closing. Slowly day fades into dusk. Soon the earth will darken, our bodies weak and weary, our inner strength undiminished. This day has been a gift, uncluttered time, free from hurry and routine, appointments or assignments. A time to face our sins and imperfections, our dreams and yearnings for the life we want to live. A time to leave the clamor of the world and attend to the voice within. Long ago, the temple gates were locked at dusk. So too, at this hour, the gates of Yom Kippur begin to close. Have we done all that needed to be done and said everything that needed to be said? The gates of God's compassion never close, but soon enough our lives close in on us. Now in the silence of the soul, now before the holy day comes to an end, release the unshed tears, the deepest prayers locked in our hearts. We continue on page 613 with Patach Lanu.
On page 618, when I consider the heavens, the work of your hands, when I gaze at the sea of space and its endless array of stars, when I set out to understand this marvel and its maker, your greatness overwhelms me. Your majesty makes me tremble with awe. What are we that you have given us eyes to glimpse your truth? What am I that you have given me a mind to fathom hints of your purpose? We are witnesses to nature's repeated refrains, forests dancing with life, mountains rising like prayers, oceans bursting forth with hymns, In the midst of this beauty, you have placed within humanity two worlds, mortal flesh and immortal soul, finite matter and infinite spirit. You have taught us to live at peace with the earth and with all living beings, and to care for the works of your hands. But something deep within us darkens the soul. In nature, spring follows winter, but human behavior is far less certain. Called to a life of righteousness, we rebel, possessed by arrogance and unrestrained ambition. Again and again, we speak of the struggle between good and evil, love and hate, forgetting that the power to choose is the greatness and glory of our humanity. In the forgetfulness, life loses its beauty, and we hear a voice of judgment. Where are you? How have you fallen? In this hour of Ne'ilah, as day fades into dusk, we hear another voice. It says, Ata noten yad lefoshim, v'imcha pshuta lekabel shavim. You hold out your hand to those who do wrong. Your right hand opens wide to receive those who return. The gates of your forgiveness are open wide.
We continue in our Machzor on page 622 for our congregational tefillah for the congregation
Adonai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Ha'gibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Ha'akol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei B'neihem, L'man Shemo Yahava, Zochreinu L'chaim, Melech Hafetz V'chaim, Melech Hafetz V'chaim, V'chotreinu B'sefer HaChaim, Lemancha Elohim Chaim, Melech Hozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham V'Ezras Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Mitzim Atarav Lehoshia, Morid Hatav, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Mitzim Berachamim Rabim, Sobech Noflim Verofeh Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha al Gevurot, Umito Melach, Melech Meimit Umechaye, Umatzniach Yeshua, Michamocha el Harachamim, Zocher Yetzura, Lechaim berachamim, Lechaim berachamim, Ne'eman atah lahachayot meti, Baruch atah Adonai, me'ayei hametim.
Please be seated. We continue now on page 628, singing Shmana. Our sovereign God of pardon and forgiveness, let these words of sanctity ascend to you. On page 630. V'chotmenu b'sefer chayim livracha v'likdusha. Seal us for holiness and blessing in the book of life. For you are holy and your name is holy, and we yearn to enter your gates in holiness. We continue on page 634. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh ukroshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. You are holy, your name is holy. Seekers of holiness praise you day by day, Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, hamelech hakadosh.
We continue on page 639. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of all generations. On this great Sabbath of forgiveness, forgive our moral failings. On this great Sabbath of goodness, teach us to be satisfied with your goodness. On this great Sabbath of atonement, purify our hearts to serve you in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Year after year, you set us on the path from guilt to holiness. Our God and God of all generations, let us feel your nearness. Let us know your love. Baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shechinato litzion. Let our eyes and hearts experience your presence in Zion. We continue on page 643. Out of nothing I became a being, and from a being I shall be nothing. But until then I rejoice, a mote in your world, a spark in your seeing. We continue on page 645. Take the fruit of our lips, wholesome, true, and sweet. Accept our offerings, our words, as we walk your path honestly and with integrity. Life is what you cherish and desire, not the death of human beings. Have faith in our righteousness. Diminish the voices that speak against us. Raise us up and let your presence light the way. Let this day's reckoning be done. Help us find atonement. Give us strength to stand upright in the world. Even before we cry out, may your forgiveness go forth. Adonai, please receive these offerings, the sincere offerings of our lips.
We continue on page 646. Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt. Please forgive their failings now in keeping with your boundless love.
Adonai, Adonai, Il Rachum v'chanun, Il Rachum v'chanun, Erech Apayim, V'rav chesed ve'emet, Notzer chesed la'alafim, Notzer chesed la'alafim.
And God responded, I forgive as you have asked.
We come now to our vidui, our confession of sins, the final one that we do together on this holy time of Yom Kippur. And I ask everyone to turn to page 652. Please rise. We are insolent, but you, God, are compassionate and gracious. We are stubborn and stiff-necked, but you are slow to anger. We persist in doing wrong, but you are the essence of mercy. Our days are a shadow passing by, but you are existence itself, your years never ending. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong. We continue with Ashamnu, which can be found on page 653.
Ashamnu, Agadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, He'evinu, V'hirshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu Sheker, Yatznu Ra, Kizavnu, Latznu, Maradnu, Niatznu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Oref, Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Titainu.
Of these wrongs, we are guilty. Please read with me. We betray, we steal, we scorn, we act perversely. We are cruel, we scheme, we are violent, we slander. We devise evil, we lie, we ridicule, we disobey, we abuse, we defy, we corrupt, we commit crimes. We are hostile, we are stubborn, we are immoral, we kill, we spoil, we go astray, we lead others astray. What can we, please be seated. What can we say to you whose existence is beyond time and space? What words of ours can reach your realm, beyond the clouds, beyond heaven itself? Every hidden mystery, every revelation, surely you know them all. We pause now for a moment of silent reflection as we prepare ourselves for the final recitation of Avinu Malkeinu. We continue in our Machzor on page 662 as we go to the ark and we rise for Avinu Malkeinu. Page 664. Avinu Malkeinu Chotmenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, seal us in the book of lives well lived.
Avinu Malkeinu Chotmenu B'Sefer Geula Vishua.
Avinu Malkeinu, seal us in the book of redemption and renewal. Avinu Malkeinu Maleh Yadenu Mibirchotecha. Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings.
Avinu Malkeinu Patach Sharei Shamayim Litfilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, renew us our year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu Ein Lanu Melech Ele Ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have no sovereign but you. Avinu Malkeinu Chanenu Va'anenu Ki Ein Banu Ma'asim. Aseh imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace when our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh banu, tzedakah v'chesed, aseh banu, tzedakah v'chesed, ve'oshienu, aseh banu, tzedakah v'chesed, aseh banu, tzedakah v'chesed,
As the book of life is closed and sealed, open our hearts, open our hands. Let those who asked forgiveness and those who gave forgiveness depart this place in peace. Let all God seekers and soul searchers of this day depart this place inspired and renewed. Together, let us build a community of commitment. We continue on page 666 with Su Sha'arim. on page 668 with the full Kaddish, Kaddish Shalem. It is different than the mourner's Kaddish and even than Chatzi Kaddish. It has many additions, so please feel free to join me, but just know it is the full one, so it's a little different than our normal. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agalalu v'zman kari v'imvu. Amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'rihu. Le'ela u'la'ela mikol birchata v'shirata. Tush v'chata v'nechemata. Da'am yaran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Tit kabel tzlo tahon uvat tahon. Dechol Yisrael kadam avihon di v'shmaya v'imru. Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Please be seated. There's a reason that Jews close Yom Kippur just before the blowing of the shofar with the triumphant cry from the passage from 1 Kings chapter 19, in which Elijah vanquishes the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. Adonai hu ha-Elohim, the Eternal One alone is God. We chant it 7 times before we hear the shofar, the only time that we sound the shofar on Yom Kippur, to signify the end of the most solemn holy day in our calendar. Sadly, most Jews have no idea of this connection, but it is crucial. King Ahab, and even more so Queen Jezebel, whose name is synonymous with wickedness. You don't hear too many women with the name Jezebel. They had corrupted Israelite worship by setting up Baal and its prophets as their favored cultic practice. They vowed to kill Elijah, who was the champion of the one true God. So Elijah challenged the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. He says, "We will each prepare our offering, and the God who consumes the offering without having kindled a fire is the true deity. The prophets of Baal go first, and though they cry out and gash themselves, nothing happens. Elijah then pours water over his offering, so much water that it fills the trench around the makeshift altar, and he cries, 'Answer me, O Eternal One, answer me.' Well, poof, the offering, the altar beneath it, and even the trench that was filled with water goes up in smoke. Who is God? Elijah essentially asks. It is your idol that you worship by gnashing yourselves and with other abominations that make a mockery of human dignity. Is it Baal who you hope will greedily eat your offering? Or is it the one true God who wants us to create a world of justice, kindness, and compassion?" And then, in a most dramatic fashion, God vanquishes Baal on Mount Carmel, and all must acknowledge God's sovereignty. It is a replay in a miniature of the 10 plagues and the Exodus from Egypt, where God defeats Pharaoh, the pagan god, in human form. So, what should we take away from what is arguably the most holy moment of the year? What should we learn, all of us learn from this passage that can help us live more meaningfully? Even though many in power debase the ideas and values that God wants us to uphold, and even though God does not assert the reality of the divine presence as dramatically to us as we see on Mount Carmel, or even in the parting of the Red Sea, it is our job to hold fast to God's desires for us. True worship is not found in mouthing empty words, but in making our faith the driving force of our lives. We glorify God and demonstrate our faith when we use our talents, whatever they may be, to help repair this broken world. And as we usher in the end of Yom Kippur, let us be given the strength to indeed discover and use those talents for Tikkun Olam.
We continue on page 672 and 673. Please rise.
It is my pleasure to invite to the bima at this time our Baal Tekiah, Mitch Williams.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed Adonai Hu HaElohim 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 Tekiah Shevarim Trua Tekiah Gedola Yasher Koach. Please be seated as we continue with Havdalah. My guitar is in the guitar hospital this month. I know, I'm sad too, but I'm happy when I get it back. So we're going to have Marissa play Havdalah for us, and I hope she does it in the right key. And the right key is whatever key she plays it in. So there you go. So please join me for our Havdalah, and then we'll do Kiddush and Motzi, and then we'll step on each other to get to the food line. Bore
Since we did our blessing over wine already, let's go ahead and do motzi, and then we will conclude our service. Please join us. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, b'te'avon. B'te'avon, everyone, may you all be inscribed and sealed in the book of life, a sweet year the year coming. May we all be blessed with health and goodness. Shana Tova and Shavua Tov.